President Trump has told the Financial Times about the phone call that he held with Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu. He is quoted as saying Iran's strikes have not changed his desire to conclude these negotiations with Iran. He also reportedly said that he calls the shots and that Netanyahu will have no choice but to accept a deal with Iran. Let's bring in our chief U.S. correspondent, Alan Fisher, who's live for us in Washington, D.C. Alan, what other reactions are you hearing in Washington tonight following these Iranian attacks on Israel?
Well, clearly no one in the administration is going to get ahead of the president. He has made his position very clear. He's trying to keep a lid on this. He has spoken to Benjamin Netanyahu in the last few hours. That phone call lasted somewhere in the region of 10 to 15 minutes, according to reports. He asked Benjamin Netanyahu not to respond. According to one report, he told him that the Israelis had had their fun by attacking Lebanon. The Iranians had had their fun by responding, and now it was time to let things lie and let him conclude a deal, which he said could happen with Iran perhaps as early as tomorrow, but certainly in the next 2 or 3 days. We've heard this from Donald Trump before, that there is a deal very close by. He's also said in the past, first of all, that he was forbidding Israel to attack Lebanon. That was a couple of weeks ago. And then he also said last week that he'd ordered Benjamin Netanyahu to tell his troops to turn back and stop attacking southern Lebanon. Of course, that had no impact either. The idea that Donald Trump would tell Benjamin Netanyahu that he's calling the shots, he's obviously trying to play on his popularity in Israel, much more popular than Benjamin Netanyahu. But Benjamin Netanyahu has political considerations to think of, because he's aware that opposition politicians will be saying that if you do just what the United States wants, then Israel is no longer a sovereign nation. So Donald Trump conducting foreign policy, it seems, in public, with a number of phone calls to journalists in the last few hours, suggesting that the United States is urging both sides to keep a lid on what has happened. But also, he has, to a degree, been undermined by what has happened in the last few hours. He has, of course, been saying for weeks that the Iranians' military has been completely degraded, that they're not in a position to launch significant attacks. That has been proven to be incorrect in the last couple of hours.
Alan, is Donald Trump then still hopeful that a deal can be reached with Iran? Because according to one report, he was saying that the deal should have been signed Monday, Tuesday, or Wednesday.
As we just said, and let me preface this by the fact that Donald Trump has said on a number of occasions that the deal is about to be done, that it is just a few days away, that it could be done over the weekend. He has, of course, come close to ending the war, ending the ceasefire by restarting the war. Said he was an hour away from giving the go on that, but it was the Gulf nations who said that they were pushing forward with negotiations with the Iranians, that there were certainly areas where they could do a deal, memorandum of understanding, and that is why he decided to postpone any further action. He's, of course, informed Congress that the military action is done. Donald Trump would like to see a deal. He sees any activity between the Israelis and the Iranians as an obstacle to that. He believes that he controls what the Israelis do. That may not be true, but he believes that if he can solve that part of the puzzle, then the rest should fall into place. Remember, one of the Iranian demands was that there be a ceasefire in Lebanon as well. Now, there's many people here in the administration that will tell you that is not in the gift of Donald Trump, that it's up to the Israelis to respond to any action on their territory. And many at the State Department that will tell you that any trouble in Lebanon is the result of Hezbollah and what they are doing, particularly targeting Israelis. But it's clear that Donald Trump would like to get a deal done. He would like to get it soon. It has got political implications for him. It has got financial implications for the American economy. And he says on several occasions a deal is almost done, yet we're still some distance away. We're still yet to see the piece of paper being signed by the leaders that means that they can move forward to the next stage of this conflict.
Alan, when the American public, of course, worried about their own day-to-day lives with the price at the pump, for example, and they see those Iranian missiles being launched at Israel, what do people in the U.S. think about this development?
Well, look, it's hard to sum up the feelings of 320 million Americans. There are some who will be concerned for many, many people, they won't care. They won't see what the impact is. They don't follow the news that closely. They are not aware. All they're aware is that when they go to fill up their car with gas, as they call it here, with petrol, they know it's much more expensive. And they know that when gas is much more expensive, then it's effectively a tax on everything else. All the prices go up because it's more expensive to deliver. Food goes up because it's more expensive to farm. All of these things have an impact on their life. They're not entirely sure who's to blame, but more and more polls suggest that they don't think Donald Trump is handling the economy in the right way. And more polls suggest that Donald Trump is responsible for that with his war in Iran. He is aware of that. He says he doesn't pay attention to the polls. He does. He absolutely does. And Republicans are beginning to worry because this will have an impact on the midterm elections, which are coming up in November. Now, that seems a long way away, but it could take some time before the tail of the economic shock that the American economy is feeling at the moment begins to even dissipate.
That's our chief U.S. correspondent, Alan Fisher, reporting live from Washington, D.C. Thank you so much, Alan.